So the White House is telling supporters that President Donald Trump has achieved major victories in negotiations with Iran. So according to officials, Iran has agreed to never develop a nuclear weapon, and tensions in Strait of Hormuz are easing, and fighting involved groups backed by Iran could be winding down. Well, that sounds really nice. Sounds like a huge diplomatic win, right? Well, there is one big problem right here. Nobody outside a small group of officials seems to know exactly what's in the deal with Iran. Now, let me break this down. What we know, what we don't know, and why some lawmakers are raising some important questions over this. So what is being claimed? According to reports, the White House has been sharing talking points to supporters and Republican members of Congress. So these talking points highlight several achievements. And the first thing is Iran supposedly agrees that it'll never ever possess a nuclear weapon. A good thing. Second, Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping route for global oil, would remain absolutely open and free. And third, regional conflicts involving Iran-backed group by being winding down. Everything seems very positive. Now, if all of that becomes reality, it would be significant development. But why? Because Iran's nuclear program has been one of the biggest foreign policy challenges for multiple US administration. Now, at the same time, instability in Middle East can affect energy prices, global trade, and security all around the world. So naturally, of course, the supporters of administration sees this as an evidence that tough negotiations are producing results. But on the other hand, critics say there's a major issue. The actual agreement has not been fully revealed. So why are people being so skeptical? Here's the interesting part. Reports indicate that the agreement itself is still largely under wrap. So that means lawmakers, analysts, and even some allies don't have access to all those details. So whenever a deal remains secret, questions starts appearing right here. People want to know, what exactly did Iran agree to? What concession did United States make? And how will compliance be verified? And what will happen either side if they break the agreement? So these aren't something small questions. They're kind of a deal that determine whether the deal is historic or just a political messaging. So some Republicans have reportedly acknowledged that lack of information is creating a lot of confusion right here. So without official details, speculations start filling the huge gaps right here. So when speculations takes over, misinformation can spread absolutely quickly. So that's exactly what lawmakers are absolutely warning about right now. Why nuclear issues matters a lot. So let me take a step back for a second. Why is everyone focused on Iran's nuclear program? This is what we gotta ask. The concern has always been that Iran could potentially develop a nuclear weapon, of course. So Iran has repeatedly stated that a nuclear program is for peaceful purpose, such as energy production and scientific research only. But however, many Western countries have regional allies remain skeptical for years and years. Now, cut. So let's take a step back for a second. Why is everyone focused on Iran's nuclear program, right? So the concern has always been that Iran could potentially develop a nuclear weapon. That was the biggest concern. Now, Iran has repeatedly stated that its nuclear program is only for the peaceful purpose, such as energy production and scientific researches. Now, however, many Western countries and regional rivals have remained skeptical for years and years. Because of those concerns, negotiations, sanctions, inspections, and diplomatic efforts have been ongoing for decades and decades. Now, any agreement that successfully limits nuclear weapon developments would be considered a major achievement, a historic deal. But the key word is successfully. The details, they matter a lot. Verification systems matters. Inspection procedures matters a lot. But Iran is not ready for that. We know that. Without those details, experts say it's impossible fully to judge whether the agreement is strong or weak. Now, political impact, what's happening in Washington. So this story is also becoming a political issue in Washington, because supporters of the administration argue that the results should speak for themselves. So they believe progress towards reducing nuclear tensions and regional conflicts deserves a recognition. Now, critics respond by saying transparency is essential. Of course, we agree that. They argue that Congress and the public should understand what commitments have been made before declaring victory. Now, honestly, this debate isn't unique to this administration. No. Almost every major international agreement faces similar arguments. One side focuses on outcomes, totally, and the other side focuses absolutely on details and accountability. So right now, both sides are making their own case before the full agreement becomes absolutely public. But until then, we are mostly hearing claims, counterclaims, and educated guesses. That's what we are hearing from the social media. Now, what I think my conclusion is, so where does this leaves us? So the White House says major progress has been made with Iran. Supporters views it as a potentially historic diplomatic achievement. Now, on the other hand, critics, they say it's too early to celebrate because the details, they remain hidden. But that's really the heart of the story. Not whether a deal exists, no, but whether the deal actually delivers what both sides they claim and they're happy for. As for more information becomes available, we'll get a clearer picture of what's fact, what's political messaging, and what's this basically what it means for the future of United States and Iran relationship. So what do you think? Should government announce victories before the full details of an agreement are released? Or should the public see the first details? Now, let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel for more and more.